fear losing it. Again, poor people, the meek shall inherit the earth. The poor people are supposed to get into heaven. And it's kind of a weird thing, because it works for the government as far as you trying to chase being in the state of poverty instead of trying to make yourself rich. It works for them. But at the same time, it goes against you being poor and, not being rich. It's a balance, man. It's tough, but y'all understand what I'm trying to say. It's tough finding that balance, being able to put yourself in a position where you can produce money, produce wealth, because everything is driven by it, but at the same time remain spiritual. This is something that luckily I have not had to struggle with, because I kind of sort of understood this deeply, and I've been able to put myself in a position to balance the two so that my actions will automatically generate the money that I need to have the kind of lifestyle that I want, which is not a crazy, extravagant lifestyle. I don't really care about all that stuff, but to be comfortable in it. And if that's where you find that balance at, it's comfortability, putting your actions into something that's going to make you comfortable. This is why I'm going to get into the later videos, as I talked about ways of obtaining wealth and making money to get to this level, to level everything out. You paying attention to the culture and the music and everything like that, that's keep pushing materialism, big titties, big butt, car, money, diamonds, what have you. And if you're not putting out anything positive into this world, you're only putting out you and negativity, then you destroying your own energy. You are staying lower brained, and you will never touch the higher brain, the higher self, because you're so rooted in Satan, in hell. And that's what it's about. So understand why the corporations accept the logo of Saturn, which we're going to get into Saturn in the part 2 of the Saturn video, the new one I just put out. Because this is why the corporations adopt that logo, Saturn, hell, Satan. And everything is about the corporations getting you material and you being hooked on this material, cigarettes, what have you, addiction, lower brain. And that's basically what it's about. So we live in a world that's basically controlled by the lower brain. Everything, the whole culture is about the lower brain. And this is why the Bible says Satan is the god of this world. You understand that now, because Satan is the lower brain. Everything is about keeping us in a state of fear, a state of want, worry, doubt, a state of addiction to things that we know are not good for us. So Satan is the god of this world. So again, when you start understanding what it's talking about, when you get into the whole metaphor of Satan and everything like that, you get it when it pertains to the brain being the lower self, Satan and hell. And this is why I told everybody, in Saturn Satan video, that we are God and Satan, capable of good and evil. The government is God as far as the aspect of being the authority, and Satan, as far as the aspect of Satan in Revelations, is the one that is responsible for deceiving the nations and everything like that, bringing about the war. Again, the government, So, as I said, things. It's one thing, bunch of different meanings, and this is no different. So we got to understand that concept and understand that, one, just like in Genesis, when I talked about this in Saturn Satan 1, remember, what God do, the authoritative figure, stopping Adam and Eve, or trying to stop them from getting the tree of life. They already bit off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, understanding what is good and evil. Now, if you bit their fruit, you understand, well, wait a minute, this God is evil. What he doing is not right. And then, getting the tree of life, which would have basically made them gods. So again, if we bit off of this tree of life, if we got this knowledge, so to speak, then we too become gods. Not just in the sense of, powerful gods, but in the sense on this planet, if we got this knowledge and came together, we get rid of this government taking their place. Satan doesn't exist no more. We destroy that. We get rid of doubt, worry, and attachment. You know what I'm saying? If everything was there the way it should be, because when you think of the concept of a garden where you can eat, every food is there, you pick it, you eat it, butt naked, you don't got to worry about how you look or what have you. There's no knowledge of the material. You get what I'm saying? There's no knowledge of the addiction. There's no knowledge of all that stuff that is bad for you. It's just, what do we worry about in this world? Food, shelter, the two main things. He had a companion, so you got love. So if we had this food, shelter, safety, love, peace, and was able to concentrate solely on spirituality, a place like this, like the garden, would, afford us to do that. So the garden was the place. Immortal in the garden, basically. Remember, he said, you're going to die now that you ate off this fruit, because you know about addiction, you know about fear, you know about lust, you know about hate, you know all this stuff now. It's going to kill you because you don't have, the ignorance of spirituality, so to speak, because it's not ignorance, but you don't have the ignorance of not knowing this stuff. But spirituality, they say ignorance is bliss, so to speak. But having that spiritual nature, it basically afforded them to not understand these things, worry, doubt, fear, or what have you, because they didn't exist. Why? God didn't create them. He didn't create them. Plain and simple as that. Because if he created them, then they would know. But they was in a garden protected. It's the same thing here. This government system, the powers that be, is creating these things. And we are subject to them because they are basically the God of this world. They are God, authoritative, Satan, which is the addiction, the fear, and what have you. So, and the Bible tells you straight up, knowledge is power. Seek knowledge, understand, learn, educate yourself. And you guys are doing exactly that. You are growing in knowledge, which is going to make you grow in spirituality, because you can't get there without knowledge. So, it's something to be said about seeking knowledge, going out and physically doing what it takes to seek knowledge. This is what they trying to stop. So now with Egyptian high alchemy, the Egyptians have what we call the alchemies of Horus. Yeah, buddy, we about to go in now. Now, so many people believe that, we believe the Egyptian gods are real and that we worship them. Then you have people who study Kemet who actually believe in these Egyptian gods. It's funny because you think people are brilliant sometimes. And when you start reading a lot of the esoteric books and a lot of the European books on ancient Kemet and the whole mystery school and everything like that, they got it completely wrong. Like, these people literally talk about Osiris and Horus and stuff like that as being actual rulers, beings that actually exist. Anybody that's telling you that Osiris, Horus, Wajet, Nekbet, or what have you, any of these gods actually exist has no clue what they're talking about. These gods, the Egyptian gods never existed. They are not real, beings that existed, that walked. You have to understand that there are principles of nature and reality that exist, but they exist within us. And this is what you are going to understand, in this video coming up. You have to understand that these Egyptian gods are within us, not figuratively, literally within us. And when you understand what they are alluding to when they are talking about this stuff, you'll get that this is all about the spiritual body and the physical body, and them coming, as one, as a talk way back, first episode of Saturn Satan, part 1, talked about everything. It's about oneness. So you got to understand, when we start getting into these Egyptian gods and these Egyptian themes and everything like that, the alchemies of Horus and all that, it's talking about you, the Egyptian gods. Horus is you. You are Horus. You are Osiris. You are Nekbet, Wajet. You are these things. They are within you. So we're going to get into that. So again, as I said, I make these videos for a reason. So in the meditation DVD, I talked about consciousness, energy, and material. I talked about how a thought of sex, which is consciousness, creates energy. And that energy travels to the hippocampus, down the fibers of the choroid plexus, to the fornix, down the spine, to the sacral nerve. That's energy. and causes an erection. That is the material or physical. Now, you have to understand again, this is about consciousness, energy, and material. It's just that simple. So it's the same process when you are actually having sex. Most people think that, well, it's just the vagina and the penis, the reason why everything feels so great. But what is actually taking place is you are coming together on a, conscious, energetic, and, material or physical level. So again, sex creates life. We all understand this. So we understand that it takes a man and a woman to create life. So you have two consciousness creating the energy. This energy is bonding with the two people on a physical level to create the necessary components that can create one life, or two lives or three lives, depending on how many eggs are, ready to be fertilized and how many sperm get to those eggs. But again, you have consciousness creating the energy that is going to bond with the physical matter, with your physical body, to produce the necessary components to create a life. And we know when you look at the sperm, it's like a little, it's life, it's electricity, it's something in it, spark, whatever you want to call it, that's allowing it to move, that's allowing it to do what it's doing. And you creating life, and that energy is coming from you. It's coming from your consciousness. It's the same with a woman. Everything that she has to do to produce this life, this energy is coming from her consciousness, and you come together and you create life. So we're talking about existence, our existence coming from consciousness. So when you think about a conscious being or consciousness wanting to interact with this physical world, this is what it has to do. Now, we can go back and speculate on who came first or who got here first. As I talked about before, it had to be the woman, because you can't get a man without a woman. But, the physical body had to be created. It had to be created somewhere, or manifested somehow. Everything, the whole complex nature of a woman, the complex nature of the brain of us, is amazing. So this has to be well thought out, and it has to be put together somehow, some way. And we don't understand how that's possible outside of birth, but we don't know everything in the universe. We don't know, what's going on, but we know consciousness is capable of creating matter, just as I explained. Consciousness, energy creating the atoms and the elements necessary to produce matter. And this is what we're seeing out there. When you look at it, the big picture, again, consciousness creates energy. Energy creates the atoms and the elements necessary to create matter. So we are talking about creation itself coming from consciousness. So when I talk about a conscious being being able to come into this world or to create matter, it is clearly done consciously. And we can see this from our own physical bodies, which is what everything is trying to tell you. I mean, if they spoke the language, if they thought the way we thought, maybe it's something more to being in this state that we are in, that is going to kind of give us the capacity to think deeper than we would think, just as spiritual beings. Now, I say that because, as I talked about before, consciousness needs existence in order for consciousness to exist. So consciousness sort of needs something to piggyback off in order to grow. Think about it. So you come to this material world, you have different experiences. You have different things to experience, and you can grow in consciousness this way. So again, maybe it's something to being in this state that's going to allow us to grow our consciousness, because now that consciousness has more to take in, more experiences to dwell on, more things to perceive because of this experience of material life or this physical world, this reality. It can grow because of this. So again, it's something that we got to look at, and we got to think about consciousness on that level, trying to develop new ways of even of ascending or moving or doing anything, Because when you think of consciousness just being conscious, what does it have to be conscious of? What? You got the planets and the stars or what have you. But, what else is out there that's going to trigger an experience, especially an emotional experience, a physical experience, a dangerous, exciting experience, This life does that. This experience on earth does that. And it must be more to it that's going to allow us to develop in consciousness. It's just something to really think about. But when you try to understand what would be the purpose of consciousness coming here and how it would develop and grow its power, what have you, this reality will do that. Existing in this life and having these experiences will definitely do that. And we know a lot of the ancient teachers, a lot of philosophers always talking about it's about the experience. Life is about experiences. Experience. You hear that a lot. So that's what we're here for. But not just to experience, but to learn and to grow. So when you think about it, when you think about consciousness, creating energy to stimulate the physical body, to create life, when you think about two people coming together like that, that is a beautiful thing. That is something that is amazing. And it has been corrupted and perverted by this satanic system, by the lower brain. So if you ever hear the term, devil child, antichrist, when you hear the term of Damien, the devil's son, what is that? What is the difference between the children of God and a devil child, a demon child, devil child? What is that really about? A lot of people don't really understand it. And it really has to do with love. So let me break this down so you can understand, because it's really important. These are things that you really should know and get into your consciousness. It has to do with love. The whole devil child thing, all that has to do with love. Now, when you meet somebody, you fall in love, which love is, really, if you want to describe it on a, kind of physical, spiritual level, it's a connection that you have with a person based upon how they made you feel. The energy you get from them, it's love. It's a lot more to that, but I'm not going to go that deep. But when you love somebody and you come together in love, so when you come together consciously, energetically, and physically, based on love, then the children that you produce are more susceptible to, having a good life, being able to feel and detect energies better. They are more calm, more understanding, more powerful, so to speak. Now think about that. Love. Coming together, having a child out of love. It's a major thing. Now, a devil child, a demon child, Damien, what it's really all about. It's coming together based not on love, which is higher brain, love. Coming together based on lower brain, which is the devil. When you come together based on the lower brain, what is that? That is material. So you want to have sex with her because she got a fat ass. She got big titties. Excuse my language. You want to come together with her and have sex with her because she looks good, because she fits or he fits the stereotype that is driving the culture. Oh, he a thug, so I want to be with him. And women have to understand this. And I got a video coming out on the black woman and sabotage. It's going to be on YouTube. It's a good video. Check it out. So coming together on those things, coming together based on, the material, the satanic way. Coming together based on, he got money, she got money, in a lot of cases. He fits the stereotype, or he fits the criteria of what society, what the culture is telling me to be with. And you come together on that. You have sex with a person the first night because of the culture. You have sex with a person only because they suit you physically, not because you have an emotional connection. You come together based on lust. So y'all come together, y'all have sex, and y'all produce this child, not out of love, but out of Satan, out of the lower brain. This child is dysfunctional, crazy, wild. And if you're lucky enough, if both of y'all was just playing that role in order to meet each other, but really are good people and really have good roots and really are emotionally grounded, spiritually grounded, you'll get lucky. and you'll have a child that'll come out good. But for some people, everybody's not that lucky. But for some people, when they come together based on the lower brain, the reptilian brain, then they produce these childs, and they wonder why the child is so evil, so bad, why he don't listen. Because he can't emotionally, connect with you guys. He can't connect with his mom. And imagine if the father's out the picture. He really can't connect with his mother because he doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to show her love because that father figure is not in the house showing his mother love, so he can understand why he needs to respect his mom. And then when your mom got different men coming over in and out, imagine how that looks to the kid. Or when she's struggling, trying to make it work, imagine how he must feel like, either he feels she's not doing right or she's not taking care of me correctly. I need to go do my own thing. Or he goes out there and try to do whatever he can to help his mom out. And that's basically, sell drugs or what have you. We see what basically happened in the black community. But this is what it's about. This is what it's about. And this is why they give us this culture and why they give us the tools to destroy ourselves, why they introduce crack. They want us to come together in lower brain and produce these devil childs, these demon childs that are lower brain, that came together, that exist from the lower brain, not coming together in consciousness, energy and the physical body with love attached, but coming together, lower brain. So it's all created to keep us in the lower self, lower state, the reptilian lower brain. Everything that we see from, booze to male and female sex symbols, strip clubs, porn and everything like that. A lot of people believe that it's just about, reaching a physical sensation, having a, female and male ejaculation, orgasms or what have you. A lot of people chase that, not understanding what they're chasing, and it's more to it than that, than just a physical stimulation. You have to understand what's taking place on a conscious level and what's supposed to take place on a conscious level between two people. Now, of course, you can simulate sex with porn and masturbation and stuff like that, but you won't get, as we all know, the same kind of sensation as actual real physical sex, which includes a connection consciously, energetically, and physically. So we know it's nothing better than that. So they're here to destroy it. They have destroyed it, and not completely, but you have some people who still fall in love. And love is something that we all feel, something that we all know about, and we all understand. It's just something that we know. Love. Some of you have been in love. Some of you understand. You love your mom. You love your parents, your children, siblings, or what have you. So we understand that, it's a different connection with love as far as loving a family member, and love as far as loving somebody you want to have a physical connection with. But they have perverted it in so many different ways. And it's this something that a lot of people don't put together. A lot of people don't understand. And everything that we see in our culture is geared into perverting that. So you can produce these children that are, wow, we're trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with them. And we don't realize that, we created them based off the lower brain. Now, they're not doomed. They're not all going to end up bad. But we do have some of these kids and we just feel like, there's no way to reach them. You got to teach them. You got to understand, the situation. And you got to teach them and raise them right. Somebody who has been raped and had a child out of rape, imagine that child grows up and has problems and issues, and you understand why. Someone whose father wasn't in the picture, it's a one-night stand, and you have a child from that. Imagine the emotional connection or disconnect that child will have. So this is something that's important. This is why the Bible talks about, lust. No lust. Stay away from lust. This is why the Bible talks about being married first. You understand these things now. You want to be married in love before you have sex. Plain and simple. You understand why the risk that you take by doing that. This is why we have condoms. So, use condoms. Don't risk it. Don't bring no more demon children, no more devil children into this world. use the condom. But you understand now what it's really about, in all seriousness. That's basically what it's talking about. So when you get into this whole aspect of consciousness and understanding that sex, and this is a major thing that a lot of people ain't pick up on. And I always use movie analogies because movies are trying to tell you something. But you have to understand, again, how it all starts with consciousness. It starts basically in the brain. So remember, the movie Demolition Man, if you remember the scene when John Spartan and Sandra Bullock's character go to have sex. Remember, she just asked him, so you want to have sex? And he's like, sure. And they go up to her apartment. And he's all hyped. And he like, yeah, we about to get into it. And she bring out this box with these two things that you put on your head. And it stimulates sex. So remember that she puts it on his head and he's like, what the hell is this? And she like, we having sex. He's like, I ain't even touched you yet. So remember, it's basically something you put on your head that's basically stimulating your consciousness to create the energy to make your body feel like it's having sex. And you remember from the movie, it was like they was having sex, but he's like, what the hell? His consciousness couldn't comprehend it because it wasn't normal to him. He didn't get it. So yeah, he broke contact and, she was kind of pissed about that. But you understand, again, it's alluding to sexual contact, sex being a part of consciousness that is giving you an energetic stimulation that is stimulating you physically as well. And we know what that's all about. So more from Demolition Man, more from this movie later in the video. But, it's really about understanding love, which is the most powerful emotion that we feel. And it's a beautiful thing when you understand it, when you get it. And the whole saying how love conquers all and everything like that. I mean, love is a rightness. It's like, so to speak, like a truth, love, because it brings out the truth. It's truth. You do things. And people say, well, I only do this because I love you. Da, 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 da. The truth comes out with love. Your girlfriend's emotion comes out. Your boyfriend's emotion comes out. He gets jealous. She gets jealous. And they don't want to admit that I'm acting this way because I love you. So it's a real touchy thing. And it's the culture that causes us to do stupid stuff like that. Oh, I'm going to dig all in your phone and accuse you of cheating because I love you. I'm accused you of cheating, not because I'm cheating, but because I love you. We're going to fight and argue because I love you. It's the culture that's driving us to do stupid shit like this. Instead of coming together in truth and just saying flat out how we feel and getting everything on the table. Again, all of it. Lower brained, satanic, mental stimulation. Lower brain, not higher brain. And when you understand that, you understand a lot more why things are the way that it is. So now everything that I just talked about was basically piggybacking off of the Meditation Volume 1 DVD and giving you more information and insight into that. This information is very important. But I said all of that to show you this. Now this is the Djed, spelled D-J-E-D. Now this is basically the earliest representation of Osiris. This is Osiris. When you look on the before you get the actual body of Osiris, you'll see this as representing Osiris. So now this is, when you look at it, it's a part of the spine. This is the Puranic tube, which basically represents the spine as well, or the spiritual spine. It deals with masculine and feminine energy. It deals with, awakening your kundalini. It deals with the Sikkim, or what the Egyptians call, the chi, the life force, energy, or what have you. So this is the Djed. And when you get into, you probably heard about it or seen it before in a lot of Egyptian glyphs or whatever. But when you get into the Djed stone, remember before I was talking about how these gods are in us. Again, Osiris, the spine. This is basically what it's representing. It's all going to make a lot of sense in a second. But this is what it's talking about. So the Djed represents Osiris, or the spine. Now, a lot of depictions that you'll see of Osiris, you'll see behind him the Djed. And again, it's representing the spine, your spine behind you. So again, as I keep saying, I make videos for a reason. Now, when you're talking about consciousness creating energy, creating matter, when it's dealing with material, what are we talking about here? What part of the brain are we talking about? And we understand that consciousness creating material it's dealing with the lower brain. It's dealing with the serpentine energy, the reptilian energy of the brain. So as I was trying to make an example of before, when you come together with just the lower brain, the reptilian brain, to produce a child, just lower brain, you get that dysfunctional child or what have you that's not fully capable of, spirituality and understanding energy or what have you. You have to really teach and train them. But if you don't know about it yourself, you'll have a problem. But when you come together with the lower brain as well as the higher brain, heaven and earth, and you come together physically, this is the power. This is mind, body, and soul basically coming together to produce, the child, or not only that, to grow yourselves in consciousness and understanding. But you have to understand this represents the spine and this serpentine energy. So now when you understand this, when you understand what the Jed is, and when you understand energy and consciousness, then this right here will make a lot more sense to you. Take a look. Now, when a lot of people saw this, they first thought was electricity. And that's not a bad thought. As I'll explain later, you're not wrong to say electricity here, but this represents Osiris, and Osiris having the control over consciousness and energy. This is why the hands are grabbing the serpent. It's having control over the reptilian energies, the reptilian brain. You cannot have control or move your arms or, control on a physical sense as you would think you're controlling something with your hands. You're physically controlling something. But on the spiritual sense, they tried to represent it with the arms grabbing the serpent or the serpentine energy. So when you look at this, again, when you understand what the Jed is, because that is the Jed column right there, or the Jed pillar. They have different names for it, but it's talking about the same thing. This is Osiris grasping control of the serpentine energy. Now understand this design, our spine, is perfectly designed to handle energy. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the transfer of consciousness. Consciousness transferring energy into physical material, movement, matter, or what have you. So you're talking about the transfer of energy. Our spine is designed perfectly to handle the transfer of energy. The Jed is talking about that. Now, when you go out and you look at power plants, you see this design. Look around, you'll see it. Look at power plants. You'll see that design looks just like the Jed. Look at spark plugs. You see the same design. When you look around at a lot of movies that you've probably seen before, you'll see this design is dealing with the energy of the brain or the consciousness creating this energy that travels down the spine, which causes you to move. Plain and simple, to react with reality, the physical world. And this is what it's talking about. Power Rangers, Zordon, you see the electric things on the side. You'll see this stuff a lot in a lot of places. Back again to Demolition Man. Remember, on Demolition Man, remember the little glow sticks they had, those sticks that he used when he shot the guy on top of the head. You see the electric created there, but you look at the design, it's just like the Jed, trying to tell you something. But this design is perfect for transferring energy, and they understand that, and it's basically represented by, the spine, the spinal column, or the Jed, which is Osiris. And Osiris is a few things, but this in this aspect is what it's talking about when it's referring to Osiris. It's talking about the control of energy, plain and simple. So now when you look at the Egyptian Book of the Dead, when you look at plate 2, which is the hymn to Osiris, you see the Jed there. You see the Jed. You don't see the normal representation or drawing of Osiris, but the Jed is there. This is the hymn to Osiris, so it's talking about Osiris. So, the Jed, you'll see it all over the place. I mean, when you kind of sort of look at the base of a light bulb, it looks like a Jed.